Well, good afternoon, all you VR6 fans out there. As you can see, the project is progressing. Front bar is on and it's all looking pretty good, like a car again. I even polished the headlights. But the latest updates are, oh dear, no MAF sensor. Don't need one of them anymore. And look at this chaos. So what I've done here is I've got an Elite 750 and I've parallel wired it in to the main harness. It shares trigger sensors, coolant sensor, throttle position sensor, and that's about it. Everything else for the car still runs off the main ECU, so it's still getting all the ODB information from all the sensors of the car, so that instrumentation, the dash, and everything works as per factory. But I now have really cool control of the engine. Drive-by-wire is still done by the factory ECU though. I'm just intercepting the signal from it and picking it up by the Haltech. Added a wideband module to it this afternoon. That's only temporarily wired in. But my plan is I'm going to make up a little aluminium bracket that'll fit in here, mount both ECUs on it, and because the Haltech is waterproof, it will be nice. And I'll wrap it all up, and yeah, you won't even hopefully know that any of this has been done to the car, with the exception that there'll be a suspicious USB cable inside the car. So LSU 4.9 wideband down there. What other changes? Did a little bit of wiring tidy up. Have a vacuum line to the Haltech there now, which is inconspicuously mixed with everything else and all the wiring. Kept all the factory loom for the moment. The wiring's in reasonable shape, but all the plugs I had it, so I've got all the R36 ones to swap that with later. I still have the MAF sensor and all the evap stuff connected so that the dash doesn't light up like a Christmas tree with errors. I believe you can remap some of that out of the factory ECU, but I have to look into that later, or potentially bypass it or put a dummy, a resistor on there or something to fool the factory ECU into making it think that it's all going to work. But anyway, let's fire it up and see how it goes. All right. So here is an Audi dashboard, and here is a Haltech. Now the only thing I'm seeing that's a little bit unusual is my coolant temp sensor is all over the shop. 46 is not quite right, 90 is more like it, but it's stable on the gauge up here. Also, when I plug into the ODB port and I have a good look at how that's producing data, I'm getting a stable 90-ish degrees there when it's up to temperature as well, but it's still all over the shop here. I'm wired into the sensor, which is just on the outside of the thermostat housing, and I thought that was probably the best one to hook it up to, but I might change that to radiator. I may have to put in another sensor somewhere. We'll see how that goes. I need a little more investigation on that, but it runs, it revs, and it's looking good. So I now have auto tune capability, as well as the ability to tune up to 2 bar of boost, which will never happen on this motor unless something goes drastically wrong. But yeah, ready for turbo soon. I might end up running it as a naturally aspirated car for a little while though, and just to iron out the bugs before I go adding too much more change. But quite stable as far as idle goes there. There's an idle speed there. Yeah, looking pretty good. Alright then, that's all for now. Cheers.